Welcome back to Ageless Mind and Body, where we don't just talk about aging, we talk about aging wisely. If you're over 60, you probably spent your whole life being told to eat your vegetables. Spinach, kale, beets, cabbage, they've been the stars of every heart-healthy list for decades. But what if I told you that after a certain age, even these so-called superfoods can quietly work against you? In today's video, we're diving into the surprising truth about vegetables and your heart health. You'll learn which ones to avoid raw, which ones to cook carefully, and why some of your favorite healthy habits could actually be raising your blood pressure, interfering with your medications, or even putting stress on your heart and kidneys. This isn't about fear, it's about wisdom. You've taken care of everyone else your whole life. Now it's time to take care of you with information rooted in real patient stories, clinical insight, and practical tips that honor the powerful, resilient body you still live in. Let's get started. Your heart still has time, and so do you. 1. Spinach. When superfood neutralizes heart medication, spinach has long been praised as a superfood loaded with iron, antioxidants, and fiber. But for adults over 60, especially those taking heart medications, it can become a silent threat. The key issue lies in its high concentration of vitamin K, a nutrient that plays an essential role in blood clotting. While that may sound beneficial, it becomes dangerous when paired with anticoagulant medications like warfarin or even daily low-dose aspirin. These drugs work by thinning the blood to prevent dangerous clots that could lead to heart attacks or strokes. However, when you consume large or inconsistent amounts of spinach, the vitamin K can directly counteract the medication's effect, causing the blood to become too thick and increasing the risk of clot formation. What makes this especially risky is the unpredictability of it. Eating spinach sporadically, having a large amount one day and none the next, can confuse your body's balance, making it even harder for your doctor to keep your INR, a test that measures blood clotting time, in a safe range. I remember a patient, a retired school teacher in her 70s, who came to my clinic after experiencing what we call a silent stroke, a minor stroke with no clear warning signs. She exercised daily, didn't smoke, avoided fried foods, and thought she was doing everything right. Her secret health weapon, a green smoothie every morning packed with raw spinach. She thought she was nourishing her heart, but blood tests revealed dangerously low INR levels. Her blood had become too thick, rendering her warfarin ineffective. No one had warned her that something as seemingly healthy as spinach could actually neutralize her life-saving medication. The lesson here is not that spinach is bad, but that context matters. After age 60, your body becomes more sensitive to interactions between food and medication. That's why consistency is key. If you enjoy spinach, don't eliminate it, but eat it in regular measured amounts, and always inform your doctor before making major dietary changes. Your physician may adjust your medication dose based on how much vitamin K you're getting from food. Monitoring your INR regularly is also critical. What once was a superfood in your 30s could quietly sabotage your heart medication in your 70s. It's not about fear, it's about knowledge, balance, and communication. When you work with your doctor and understand how your diet affects your health, you can enjoy the benefits of foods like spinach without putting your heart at risk. Because even the healthiest ingredients can become harmful when the body's needs and its medications are not taken into account. 2. Pickled cucumbers. The invisible salty trap. Pickled cucumbers may seem like a harmless side dish, crunchy, tangy, and refreshing. But for older adults, especially those over 60, they can quietly become a hidden salt trap with serious consequences for heart health. While they start as fresh cucumbers, once they're soaked in brine to achieve that classic pickle flavor, they absorb a staggering amount of sodium. In fact, just a few slices can contain over 1,000 milligrams of sodium, well beyond 2/3 of the recommended daily limit for seniors. The danger here isn't always obvious. Pickles don't always taste overwhelmingly salty, and many seniors don't realize that something so familiar and seemingly innocent could be raising their blood pressure every single day. Here's the science. When you consume too much sodium, your body retains water to balance it out. That retained fluid increases your blood volume, forcing your heart to work harder to pump blood through your vessels. Over time, this additional workload stiffens the arteries, elevates blood pressure, and significantly increases the risk of developing chronic heart failure. The most alarming part is that this process often happens in silence. There may be no early symptoms, no pain, no warning signs until the damage has already begun. Take, for example, a patient I once treated, a warm-hearted 78-year-old woman who had made a conscious effort to live healthily. She had eliminated fried foods, walked daily, and followed her doctor's recommendations. Yet she continued to struggle with stubbornly high blood pressure. It wasn't until we closely reviewed her diet that the true culprit was revealed. Her daily lunch included a generous helping of pickled cucumbers. She had assumed that since they were technically vegetables, they couldn't possibly be harmful. But her aging kidneys could no longer eliminate sodium efficiently, and her heart was paying the price. Eventually, she was hospitalized and diagnosed with early-stage congestive heart failure. That diagnosis shocked her because she had tried so hard to do everything right. The lesson here isn't to live in fear or give up on flavor, it's to be aware. Many high-sodium foods don't come from potato chips or processed meats, but from items we don't typically think of as salty, like canned vegetables, sauces, and yes, pickles. As we age, our taste buds dull, and we may not even notice how salty our food really is. That's why it's important to read labels, rinse canned foods, and opt for fresh alternatives whenever possible. If you love pickles, you don't have to give them up entirely. A heart-smart swap is to use fresh cucumber slices dressed with apple cider vinegar and herbs like dill or garlic. This preserves the tangy, satisfying crunch without flooding your bloodstream with excess sodium. Small changes like this can make a profound difference. Your heart after 60 is still strong, but it needs support, not stress. And sometimes protecting it starts with what's sitting quietly next to your sandwich. 3. Red chili peppers, strong flavor, increases heart risk. Red chili peppers bring bold flavor and excitement to almost any dish. For many, the heat is addictive, and the kick of spice feels like a burst of energy. But for those over 60, that fiery sensation may be doing more harm than good, especially to the heart. The active compound in chili peppers, capsaicin, is responsible for that unmistakable heat. What many people don't realize is that capsaicin also stimulates the sympathetic nervous system, the body's fight or flight response. This causes your heart rate to rise, blood vessels to constrict, and blood pressure to spike. While a younger body can typically handle this temporary cardiovascular stress, the aging heart doesn't have the same resilience. After 60, blood vessels often become less flexible, and the heart itself may be weakened by age, past health issues, or long-term medication use. That same spike in blood pressure that a 30-year-old shrugs off can send a 70-year-old's heart into dangerous territory. Even worse, consuming spicy foods regularly may not just cause short-term spikes, it can contribute to chronic inflammation of the blood vessels over time. This inflammation is a silent trigger that gradually wears down artery walls, making them more prone to plaque buildup, a condition known as atherosclerosis. Over time, arteries that are inflamed and narrowed can restrict blood flow to the heart and brain, raising the risk of heart attacks and strokes. I recall one patient in particular, a 68-year-old retired firefighter who prided himself on his stamina and strong constitution. For decades, he had added fresh chili peppers and hot sauces to nearly every meal. But recently, he began noticing irregular heartbeats, dizziness, and tightness in his chest, especially after eating. When we examined his case, the pattern became clear. His arrhythmia episodes were triggered shortly after consuming highly spicy meals. The very spice he thought was keeping him energized was in fact overstimulating his heart and threatening his stability. The lesson here is not to eliminate all flavor, but to choose flavor with wisdom. There are many alternatives to red chili peppers that bring richness and depth to meals without placing your heart at risk. Cooked garlic, for example, maintains antioxidant benefits while being gentle on the cardiovascular system. Turmeric offers anti-inflammatory effects that support heart and joint health. Fresh lemon juice can add brightness and tang to food without affecting blood pressure. And herbs like basil, thyme, and rosemary not only enhance taste, but also deliver subtle health benefits. As we age, the way we season our food should evolve just as our bodies do. It's not about losing enjoyment, it's about respecting the balance between taste and health. By replacing spicy heat with heart-friendly flavors, you can continue to enjoy meals that are both delicious and safe, nourishing your heart with every bite instead of challenging it. 4. Raw garlic natural miracle drug can cause excessive blood thinning. Raw garlic has long been hailed as a natural wonder drug, praised for its powerful health benefits, its ability to fight inflammation, and its reputation as a heart protector. At the center of this reputation is a compound called allicin, which is released when garlic is crushed or chopped. Allicin has potent antioxidant and antimicrobial effects, and, more importantly, it acts as a natural blood thinner. For many people, especially those trying to manage blood pressure or cholesterol, garlic seems like a safe, natural solution. But here's the part most people don't hear for seniors, particularly those over 60. Raw garlic, when combined with heart medications, can quietly become dangerous. If you're already taking blood thinners like aspirin, warfarin, or even certain herbal supplements, adding raw garlic to your daily routine may tip the balance too far. The result, blood that's too thin, leading to internal bleeding, sudden drops in blood pressure, dizziness, or even fainting spells. I once treated a 76-year-old patient who was deeply committed to natural health. Every morning she took 2 raw garlic cloves on an empty stomach, convinced she was protecting her heart. But one morning she collapsed unexpectedly in her kitchen. Her blood pressure had plummeted, and lab tests later showed her blood was thinner than it should have been. We traced it back to the combination of her prescribed heart medication and her raw garlic habit. She didn't know the garlic was acting like a drug, and nobody had warned her that natural doesn't always mean safe. The truth is, raw garlic amplifies the effect of anticoagulant medications, and while that might sound like a good thing on the surface, it can turn into a serious problem when the body's ability to clot blood is weakened beyond what's safe. For older adults whose systems are already more sensitive, this can lead to internal bleeding, spontaneous bruising, or even hemorrhagic stroke in extreme cases. That doesn't mean garlic is the enemy. In fact, many of garlic's benefits can still be enjoyed safely when it's cooked. Cooking garlic reduces the potency of allicin while preserving much of its antioxidant value. For seniors who love the taste or tradition of garlic, switching to roasted, sautéed, or gently simmered garlic in soups and stews can be a heart-smart compromise. Most importantly, if you're over 60 and taking medications for your heart, always tell your doctor or pharmacist about any regular raw garlic use. It's not about giving up the things you love, it's about using them wisely. As one patient put it perfectly, I didn't have to give up garlic, I just had to respect it. In the journey of aging, even trusted remedies need to evolve with us. What once healed may now need adjusting. And health isn't about hard rules, it's about balance, awareness, and the willingness to listen to what your body needs today. 5. Raw sprouts, tiny pieces of vegetables, can cause heart infections. Raw sprouts, those crisp, delicate greens like alfalfa, mung bean, radish, or clover, are often hailed as superfoods. You see them tossed on salads, tucked into veggie wraps, or proudly displayed in health food sections, labeled as gut-friendly, heart-healthy, and packed with natural vitality. For many health-conscious older adults, adding raw sprouts to a meal feels like a wise choice, a simple way to boost nutrition and support a healthy heart. But beneath that fresh, vibrant appearance lies a hidden danger that too many seniors are never warned about. Raw sprouts are grown in warm, humid conditions, the very same environment that dangerous bacteria like E. coli salmonella and listeria thrive in. While younger, more robust immune systems can often fight off these pathogens with only mild discomfort, aging bodies are far more vulnerable. After the age of 60, your immune defenses naturally weaken, your body responds more slowly to infection, and the risks become far greater. Take George, for example, a 68-year-old retired firefighter from Minnesota. He was strong, active, and deeply committed to living a heart-healthy lifestyle. No red meat, no sugar, plenty of water, and salads every single day. But one afternoon, George was rushed to the emergency room with a high fever, confusion, and a racing heartbeat. It wasn't a heart attack or a stroke, it was infective endocarditis, a serious infection of the inner lining of the heart. The surprising culprit, a batch of contaminated raw alfalfa sprouts he had eaten just a few days earlier. His immune system couldn't mount a defense quickly enough, and what began as a healthy habit nearly cost him his life. George spent weeks on IV antibiotics and days in the cardiac care unit recovering. "Doc, I thought I was doing everything right," he told me. "I didn't even know sprouts could make me sick like that." Unfortunately, George's case is not unique. Every year, outbreaks linked to raw sprouts surface across the country, and yet these foods continue to be sold raw without warning labels, leaving older adults at serious risk. The lesson here is not that you must give up sprouts entirely, but rather that they need to be treated with caution and care. Lightly steaming or sautéing sprouts before eating can kill harmful bacteria while preserving most of their nutrients and crunch. By simply cooking your sprouts instead of eating them raw, you can still enjoy their health benefits without putting your heart or your life at risk. As we age, even the smallest food choices matter more. What looks clean and fresh on the outside may be hiding something your immune system can no longer fight off. Protecting your heart isn't just about what you eat, it's about how you eat it. And sometimes the tiniest ingredient can carry the biggest consequences. 6. Healthy vegetables cause dangerous drug interactions. We've all been taught to trust vegetables, especially the green, fresh, and leafy kind. For decades, we've believed that if it grows from the earth, it must be good for us. And, for the most part, that's true. But as we age, especially past the age of 60, our bodies don't just change in how they digest food, they also change in how they process medication. What many older adults don't realize is that some of the most nutritious vegetables can actually interfere with common heart medications, sometimes with dangerous results. Vegetables like broccoli, Brussels sprouts, and even grapefruit or green tea may seem harmless, but they can interact with liver enzymes, specifically the CYP450 group, that are responsible for breaking down many prescription drugs. When these enzymes are blocked or overstimulated, the medications we rely on can either build up to toxic levels in the blood or be cleared too quickly, reducing their effectiveness. One example is Mrs. Diane, a 73-year-old retired school teacher managing atrial fibrillation and mild heart failure. She was doing everything right, staying active, taking her meds, and following a healthy plant-based diet. But after increasing her intake of grapefruit juice and cruciferous vegetables like broccoli and Brussels sprouts, she began experiencing dizziness, confusion, and an irregular heartbeat. Her blood pressure dropped significantly, and her heart rate became unstable. Lab results showed that her heart medications were no longer being metabolized properly, leading to dangerously high levels in her system. It turns out that grapefruit had inhibited the liver's ability to process her drugs, while high doses of vitamin K from her vegetables disrupted the balance required by her blood thinner. Diane didn't do anything wrong. She was simply unaware that her healthy habits could have unintended consequences. This is a common but overlooked issue. Leafy greens like kale and spinach, while excellent sources of nutrients, are rich in vitamin K, which can reduce the effectiveness of anticoagulants such as warfarin. If eaten inconsistently, they can make it harder for doctors to regulate a patient's blood thickness, increasing the risk of clots or internal bleeding. On the other hand, vegetables high in potassium, such as tomatoes, potatoes, and pumpkin, can lead to elevated potassium levels in the blood, a condition known as hyperkalemia. This is particularly dangerous for seniors taking potassium-sparing diuretics or ACE inhibitors, as their kidneys may already struggle to excrete excess potassium efficiently. The lesson here is not to avoid vegetables, but to approach them with more awareness and balance. Consistency and moderation are key. If you make changes to your diet, especially if it involves increasing or decreasing specific vegetables, always inform your doctor or pharmacist. Food and medicine must work together, not against each other. In the golden years of life, even the healthiest choices require a little extra care. Eating wisely isn't about restriction, it's about respect for how your body works today. 7. Raw cabbage squeezes the heart and lungs from the inside. Raw cabbage is often seen as a clean, heart-friendly food light, crunchy, low in calories, and easy to toss into a salad or coleslaw. For many older adults looking to eat healthier, raw cabbage becomes a regular part of the daily meal plan. But what most people over 60 don't realize is that this seemingly harmless vegetable can quietly create pressure inside the body, quite literally. Raw cabbage contains a type of complex fiber and a group of fermentable carbohydrates known as FODMAPs. These substances are not easily broken down by the digestive system, especially in seniors whose digestion naturally slows with age. As a result, raw cabbage often ferments in the gut, leading to excess gas, bloating, and abdominal distension. While these symptoms might be minor nuisances in youth, they can have serious consequences later in life. When the abdomen becomes distended with gas, it pushes upward on the diaphragm, the muscle that helps you breathe, and compresses the lungs and heart. This added pressure can make it difficult to breathe deeply and can restrict the heart's ability to fully expand and contract between beats. For seniors already managing conditions like mild heart failure, diastolic dysfunction, or valve issues, this physical pressure can become more than uncomfortable. It can become dangerous. I saw this firsthand with Mr. Leonard, a 75-year-old retired truck driver who came to me complaining of shortness of breath and chest tightness, especially after meals. He had recently made significant changes to his diet, cutting out processed foods and eating raw cabbage salads every day. While his intentions were good, his symptoms were telling another story. The bloating wasn't just a digestive issue, it was placing direct pressure on his heart and lungs. Once we identified the culprit, we didn't eliminate cabbage from his diet entirely, we simply changed how it was prepared. Instead of eating it raw, Mr. Leonard began steaming and lightly sautéing his cabbage. Cooking breaks down the tough fibers and reduces the fermentation that leads to gas buildup. The results were almost immediate: less bloating, easier breathing, and a sense of comfort after meals that had been missing for weeks. I didn't know food could press against my heart like that, he told me. But now I feel like I can actually breathe after lunch. The lesson here is simple but powerful. Raw doesn't always mean better, especially after 60. As we age, even healthy foods must be approached with greater understanding and care. Cabbage itself isn't the enemy. How we prepare it makes all the difference. For seniors, lightly cooking cruciferous vegetables like cabbage, broccoli, or Brussels sprouts can ease digestion, reduce bloating, and remove unnecessary strain from the heart and lungs. In this stage of life, every bite matters, not just in terms of nutrients, but in how it makes the body feel and function. When we adjust our habits to match our body's current needs, we turn food from a potential burden into a true source of healing. 8. Canned vegetables, the silent culprit of high blood pressure. Canned vegetables often appear to be a convenient and healthy option, especially for older adults who may live alone or have limited access to fresh produce. Green beans, carrots, sweet corn, they're vegetables after all, and vegetables are good for the heart, right? But what many don't realize is that these seemingly innocent cans often come packed with a hidden danger: sodium. Most canned vegetables are preserved in brine, a salty solution designed to extend shelf life and enhance flavor. Even if they don't taste overtly salty, the sodium content can be alarmingly high. For seniors especially, those managing hypertension or cardiovascular disease, this silent sodium load can become a serious threat. Sodium acts like a sponge in the bloodstream, retaining water and increasing blood volume. The more volume your heart has to pump, the harder it works. And over time, this extra strain can contribute to consistently elevated blood pressure and even heart failure. Take the case of Mr. Roy, an 83-year-old widower from rural Georgia. He was living independently and doing his best to make heart-healthy choices. "I don't eat junk," he proudly told me during one of his appointments. "I open a can of green beans or carrots every day. Quick, easy, better than nothing." But despite being on prescribed antihypertensive medication, Roy's blood pressure remained stubbornly high. We tried adjusting his medication, reducing his fluid intake, even modifying his physical activity, but nothing seemed to help. That's when I asked him to bring in the labels of the foods he was eating. The culprit became immediately clear. A single can of green beans contained over 500 milligrams of sodium per serving, and Roy was unknowingly consuming the entire can, effectively doubling or tripling his recommended daily sodium intake in one meal. He was doing everything he thought was right, but the hidden salt in his so-called healthy meals was quietly undermining his progress. This is not an isolated case. Many seniors fall into the same trap. They trust that vegetables, no matter the form, are always a safe choice. But with aging kidneys, stiffening arteries, and a heart that may already be working overtime, sodium becomes a silent but dangerous foe. The solution isn't to eliminate canned vegetables entirely, but to use them wisely. Whenever possible, choose fresh or frozen vegetables, which are typically lower in sodium and free from preservatives. If canned goods are necessary, opt for those labeled "no salt added." And even then, it's important to rinse the vegetables thoroughly under cold water before cooking or eating to wash away as much residual sodium as possible. Small adjustments like these can make a profound difference. Within weeks of making the switch, Mr. Roy's blood pressure began to stabilize, and we were able to reduce his medication slightly. It wasn't about giving up convenience, it was about making convenience work for his heart, not against it. 9. Too many good vegetables. When superfoods become a silent burden. We've all grown up hearing the same advice: eat your vegetables, and for good reason. Leafy greens like kale and spinach. Root vegetables like beets and sweet potatoes are packed with nutrients that support a healthy heart, strong immunity, and better aging. But what most people aren't told is that after age 60, even the healthiest vegetables can become too much of a good thing. As we age, the way our bodies digest, food absorb nutrients, and process compounds changes significantly. The same foods that once energized us in our 30s or 40s can begin to tax our systems in our 60s, 70s, and beyond. Nutrients like potassium oxalates and vitamin K, found in high amounts in many superfoods, can quietly begin to overload organs like the kidneys, interfere with medications, or unbalance blood pressure regulation if consumed excessively. Let me tell you about Mr. Sam, a 79-year-old retired piano teacher who fully embraced a plant-based lifestyle after a mild heart attack. Every day he filled his plate with large portions of kale, spinach, beets, and sweet potatoes, proudly avoiding all processed food and sugar. "I live on the good stuff now," he told me, believing that his clean eating habits were his armor against aging. But a few months into this routine, Sam began experiencing unusual fatigue, muscle weakness, and occasional lightheadedness. When we looked at his lab work, we found elevated potassium levels and lower than normal blood pressure, two red flags in someone his age. The issue wasn't that he was eating unhealthy food. The issue was volume frequency and the body's reduced ability to regulate certain compounds in older age. Beets and spinach, while rich in antioxidants and fiber, are also high in oxalates, which in large amounts can stress the kidneys or even contribute to kidney stones. Spinach and kale also contain vitamin K, which when eaten in high and inconsistent amounts can interfere with blood-thinning medications and increase the risk of clotting or internal bleeding. Sweet potatoes, full of healthy carbs and nutrients, are naturally high in potassium, great in moderation, but risky for those on ACE inhibitors or potassium-sparing diuretics. Sam's good intentions were overwhelming his body's capacity to maintain balance. We didn't take away his healthy diet. Instead, we made thoughtful adjustments. We reduced his portion sizes, introduced vegetable rotation to avoid nutrient overload, and added gentler, easier-to-digest vegetables like green beans, cooked carrots, and zucchini. Within weeks, his potassium levels normalized, his energy returned, and his symptoms disappeared. "Turns out even the good guys need limits," he joked during our follow-up visit. And he was right. After 60, health isn't just about eating more healthy food. It's about eating smart, balanced, and in harmony with the body's changing needs. Because even superfoods can become silent stressors if we forget that aging requires a different nutritional rhythm, one that values moderation, variety, and a little more kindness toward the body that's carried us this far. Vegetables that are really good for your heart. After 60. After the age of 60, your body begins to speak a different nutritional language, one that requires more gentleness, more attention, and more wisdom in every bite. The same foods that once fueled your energy in youth can suddenly become too heavy for your slowing metabolism, your more delicate digestion, and the medications your heart may now rely on. That's why when 83-year-old Ruby, a retired nurse from Georgia, came to me asking how she could support her heart naturally and stay off major medications, we focused not on what to remove from her diet, but what to choose more carefully. The answer wasn't trendy superfoods or exotic supplements. It was about picking the right vegetables, prepared the right way, in the right amounts. Because when chosen thoughtfully, vegetables can do more than just fill your plate. They can stabilize your blood pressure, ease inflammation, support circulation, and work in harmony with your aging body rather than against it. We began Ruby's journey to heart health with one of the most trusted and gentle combinations, steamed broccoli and green beans. These two vegetables are high in fiber, rich in antioxidants, and naturally low in sodium. Most importantly, they don't interfere with common heart medications. Steaming them lightly preserves their anti-inflammatory properties while making them easy to digest, which is crucial for seniors whose digestive systems may no longer process raw or fibrous foods as efficiently as they once did. Green beans, often overlooked, offer an ideal balance of potassium and magnesium, two minerals that support blood pressure regulation without tipping the scales the way potassium-heavy foods can when consumed excessively. Next on Ruby's plate came cooked carrots. Warm, sweet, and familiar carrots became her go-to comfort vegetable. Rich in beta-carotene, they help maintain the integrity of blood vessels and promote better circulation. Their gentle sweetness helped curb Ruby's cravings for salty, processed snacks, making them an easy replacement for foods that could spike blood pressure. We often underestimate the value of food that soothes both the body and the mind, and carrots did just that for Ruby, reminding her of childhood meals while also protecting her heart with every bite. We also introduced zucchini sautéed with a touch of olive oil and fresh herbs. Zucchini may not make headlines in the health food world, but it is a quiet powerhouse. It's low in calories, low in oxalates, which makes it safer for those with kidney concerns, and rich in vitamin C and soluble fiber. That fiber is key for managing cholesterol levels, and the gentle texture makes it ideal for older adults who may have slowed digestion. Zucchini fits seamlessly into Ruby's routine, whether sliced into soups, stir-fried as a side dish, or simply paired with grilled fish. Sweet potatoes were another vegetable Ruby loved, and thankfully they didn't need to be eliminated, just moderated. We focused on portion size and preparation. Baked or steamed, rather than fried sweet potatoes, provide a steady source of complex carbohydrates that fuel the body without causing blood sugar spikes. Their vibrant orange color signals a high level of beta-carotene, which supports not only heart health, but also vision and immune function. By keeping portions moderate and avoiding added sugar or butter, sweet potatoes became a reliable staple on Ruby's plate, bringing nourishment without the risks. Cooked tomatoes made a welcome return to Ruby's diet as well, especially when prepared in heartwarming dishes like vegetable stews or light pasta sauces. While raw tomatoes have their benefits, cooking them actually unlocks lycopene, a potent antioxidant that improves the flexibility and health of blood vessels. Lycopene has been linked to a reduced risk of heart disease, and, when paired with a small amount of healthy fat like olive oil, is absorbed more effectively by the body. Ruby found that cooked tomatoes not only boosted the flavor of her meals, but also offered a sense of satisfaction and warmth that raw vegetables sometimes couldn't deliver. And finally, we reintroduced kale, not raw in salads or smoothies, but gently sautéed. Kale is nutrient-dense, providing generous amounts of vitamins A and C, along with fiber. But when eaten raw or in large amounts, it can interfere with certain medications, especially blood thinners. Light cooking helps reduce those risks while preserving much of its nutritional value. For Ruby, kale became a once or twice a week green that she enjoyed without fear, paired with garlic olive oil or even a splash of apple cider vinegar to add a bright note without sodium. Each of these vegetables was chosen not just for their individual benefits, but for how they work together, balancing fiber, antioxidants, and minerals while remaining gentle on Ruby's system. They didn't spike her blood pressure, conflict with her medications, or overwhelm her digestion. Instead, they nourished her gradually, consistently, and in harmony with her stage of life. Within 3 months of adopting this adjusted diet, Ruby reported not only better numbers at her checkups, but more energy, fewer cravings, and a sense of confidence at the table she hadn't felt in years. "I feel like my body is finally working with me again," she told me with a smile. And that's the goal. After 60, health isn't just about cutting back, it's about choosing smarter. Vegetables like steamed broccoli, green beans, cooked carrots, sautéed zucchini, modest portions of baked sweet potatoes, cooked tomatoes, and lightly sautéed kale. All have one thing in common: they respect the aging body. They offer support without strain. They align with medications instead of contradicting them. And they prove that eating for your heart doesn't have to be bland, complicated, or restrictive. It just has to be wise. So if you're navigating life after 60 and wondering how to nourish your heart through food, start here. With vegetables that bring balance, flavor, and healing, bite by bite, day by day. Let your plate become not just a source of fuel, but a daily act of love and protection for the body that has carried you through a lifetime. Because your heart, after all these years, still deserves the very best. After the age of 60, your body doesn't need strict restrictions. It needs thoughtful balance. The message isn't about banning foods, but about adjusting how we eat them. As we age, our digestion slows, our metabolism shifts, and medications become a regular part of life. That means even healthy foods like vegetables need to be chosen and consumed with more care. It's not about fear, but wisdom. Food remains one of the most powerful forms of medicine, but just like any medicine, it must be used in the right dose, at the right time, and in the right form. Overeating even the most heart-healthy vegetables can lead to unexpected consequences, from interfering with medications to putting unnecessary strain on the kidneys or heart. That's why after 60, it's not just what you eat, but how much and when you eat it that matters most. By learning to eat strategically with a focus on variety, moderation, and preparation methods that support aging bodies, we can continue to enjoy the foods we love while truly nourishing our health. Aging gracefully isn't about cutting everything out. It's about tuning in and making each bite count with balance, intention, and care. Your heart still has time, and so do you. Growing older isn't the end of the road. It's an invitation to care for yourself with greater wisdom and compassion. At this stage in life, food is no longer just fuel. It becomes daily therapy when chosen with care. You don't need extreme diets or radical changes. All it takes is one simple question at each meal. Is this feeding my heart, or is it working against it? That single moment of awareness can shift the course of your health. Because the truth is, it's never too late to make a change. Even the smallest decision today can lead to a stronger, lighter, longer life tomorrow. Your heart has been with you through it all. Now it's time to return the favor with gentle, consistent choices that honor the body and the life you still have ahead. If this message resonated with you, we'd love for you to join our community. Subscribe to Ageless Mind and Body for more heart-smart tips, empowering stories, and practical guidance to help you thrive at every age.